Okay, let's go ahead and stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Zambo, you want to take minutes tonight?
I do that.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's call to order the meeting at 6:30. Okay. Roll call. Here we go. Let's see here. Mr. Riley.
No.
Let's see. Zambo.
Here.
Mazer. Garber, I'm sorry. I keep saying the damn name right here. I apologize. Randazzo.
Here.
Weaver. Weaver here. And Mayor Wareham is not in. Okay, you got a motion to approve the absences.
I'll move to approve the absences.
All right, can I get a
Support.
second? Support? All right, all in favor?
I don't have what's that.
Aye, all opposed?
Next
All
day.
right.
Who had the motion?
Weaver had the motion,
And I.
and Garber seconded it. If you need us to slow down, Rob, just let us
Yeah,
know.
we'll let you catch up.
Yeah, there's no use rushing through it.
No. Very good.
Okay, adoption or amendment of the agenda. I think Mr. Weaver,
Yes, I wanted to amend the agenda under new business. Discussion for recommendations to the city council.
What are we
Number 3.
Number 3,
Under new business, yes.
what's it,
Or I don't know, check what, no, new
Wait.
business.
what is the recommendation for?
Well, I want to discuss recommendations. I would like to have a discussion.
Oh, just like in general?
Yes,
Okay.
and if out of that discussion, we think we should make some recommendations, then
Okay.
we'll do that. But in light of the meeting that we had yesterday at the DPW committee meeting, many of the people were here that are having issues with flooding, and there's a number of details put out there. And one prevalent theme was that the planning commission is not doing their job because they're not forwarding recommendations to city council. Therefore, the city council really cannot act on anything.
okay.
If I interpret that right for the way I got it yesterday, so I thought maybe we could help the city council focus on maybe some of the issues that we've
Well,
been
that
dealing with.
makes no sense, being that you're the representative from the council and you take everything back there, so.
Well, I don't know, Bart, but that's why I thought maybe we should discuss that, and I wanted everybody to hear what we've been
Do we have a
hearing
motion for
from
that?
our citizens.
We have a motion to, for
That was
that.
word
amendment?
word for word.
Hold on. No public comments until we're done here. Okay, you'll get a chance to speak once we get there. So the adoption amendment agenda, so do we need I can't remember if we need a motion to, yeah, we needed a motion to,
Well, I'll make the motion for
Okay.
discussion regarding recommendations to city council.
all right, and I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, you good on that, ma'am? Mr. Zambo?
Good.
Okay.
Who seconded?
I seconded it.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to approval of special meeting minutes from April 21st. Is that the Outlook one that we were talking with? That's what I got in my packet here, planning meetings for a special meeting on the 21st.
Well, it's just a minute, correct?
Yeah, it's just a minute, so if you wanna look through that real quick, if you see any corrections, let's get that down, take a minute and read it, and then we move on from there.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from, when was it? April 21st.
I'll support.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Awesome.
Who was the second on that? I did that.
Weaver. All right. Moving on to, you good?
Good.
And moving on to citizens' comments regarding agenda and non-agenda items. I don't see any papers filled out. Oh, sorry, Jim.
No, no problem.
All right, citizens' comments. We have Jim Fields. He lives on Bell River in our wonderful little town. And it says, Planning Commission, Meadows, and can't read the last one, Jim.
Timeline.
Timeline, okay. All right, so we have here, I'll time it.
Okay, so Jim Fields, 80263 Bell River Road. I'm gonna pick up on the end of a city council meeting in the last few planning commission meetings. And I've had to sit back and I thought, because I was asked a couple questions on what I wanted, and I also asked the mayor the same thing. And I want actions taken on documented issues, actions taken in support of the citizens of Memphis. And I want to work collectively, all of us, to be better at understanding and developing mutual respect, and to have accountability of action. I want everyone sitting here and the city council to be better equipped to understand and execute your roles as public servants and those that are public employees. You're not volunteers, you're public servants. You have a position, and sometimes the lack of understanding, or there's no training or no education involved in accepting those positions, and we see a lot of that can be attributed to those things. And there's a culture, unfortunately, when you talk in the city, and I brought this up a lot, there's a culture of victim shaming. And by victim shaming, I mean there are people that are affected in Memphis in various ways, and often they have a feeling that when they come to their representatives or the city's employees, and they're shamed or they're victim blamed for the situation, or the DPW talks down to them when it's a road or it's a maintenance issue or something like that, and that's a cultural thing. So when I come up and I talk based on everything that I do and I have done, I guess that's really an important thing for everybody to understand. I mean, that's my driving force, other than the professional side of things and understanding how things work. You know, understanding actions that are outside of the public view undermine required transparency, accountability, and lead to decisions and actions being taken contrary to the public's views and approvals. And that has been a pretty common theme as I've gone through and I've watched all the videos, all the minutes, and all the agendas. Now, I have my FOIA request in for the city for a lot more information, but the summary available just from the agendas, minutes, and videos. In 2020, Wilson and Dummer, they originally met with Statewide to initiate discussions on this project. This is just an overview of the timeline, so we all are on the same page. In December of 2020, the property and development started to be discussed in more of an official capacity with 13 to 14 houses. Through 21 and 22, there was a lot of back and forth. In 2023, the initial sales. Important key timeline notes. City Council, December 20, to develop 13 to 14 houses, and some apartments or condos is what was presented, okay? So in 2021, at the City Council meeting, there was also brought up the possible construction and the resurfacing of Bell and tying that into that's the September meeting. As you go through from September, we go back into what would be March, where the initial phases were brought in, the well and tap fees were cut under recommendation of the developer to the city, and At the time, I think Wilson was on the council or the planning commission, and they cut those tap fees in March, discounting the $1,500 per house, citing that the units are gonna be sold at $200,000 to keep the affordability. The units in that first phase are $275 to $320. So I mean, the math in 2 years is off almost 38%. So that didn't happen. So the initial plan reviews, much discussions take in place, the building inspector, engineer, everything gets in. Various subjects relating the drainage issues, the retention pond, to the approval of the site plan as proposed, which everybody's seen had the detention pond. That was sent to BMJ. BMJ came back with their recommendations, and they talked specifically about the drainage issues, the potential drain issues. The plans provided for a detention pond, which will be constructed in 2 phases. The initial phase is sized to accommodate the flow from the single-family residential units.
About
The
30
detention
seconds.
pond,
Let's go.
Let them go, okay.
Well, if we want to have a motion, I will give a motion. I mean, we're a small meeting here.
But
I will, yep, absolutely.
but
Thank
thank you. The detention pond, showing the discharge on an 18 to a 10, it would handle that flow and still do everything that it needed to do, because you're adjusting the topography of everything. You were disturbing a natural plane. So through April 21, and then the planning commission in 21, Wilson came as a council member talking to the planning commission. The sidewalks, the detention pond came up. This proceeded into a public hearing on April 28th, which was a public hearing. The sidewalks, the approval was made. The motion was actually made by Wilson, second by Martyr, who recommended the city council that the development phase 1 be approved contingent on the following: the 5-foot wide sidewalk, the separate sewer service, the drainage easements documented for both rear yard and the initial phase of the retention pond as provided on the plans. Now, that was a motion by Wilson, approved by Martyr, at the planning commission in a public hearing, sent to the council, which the council accepted, voted on, and approved. So that's the plan. That plan was what filed at the county. So 1231 is the phase 1 detention pond. I'm just gonna save all of this. So that there's a timeline. You can break down all the approvals, the meeting minutes, the hearings, the recommendations from the planning commission, the votes from the city council to accept those recommendations, and then you can look at comments and citizen comments supplied by city council members to the planning commission to change some of the courses that were approved in public hearings. So outside of the public's approval, what was approved and those votes were taken, steps were manipulated to give the impression that this doesn't need to be done now. We don't need to address these things. The drainage won't be an issue. Well, all these little steps taken there, and it developed into this mess now because some of these steps, the commission was defamed effectively by what the public knew. And now you have these drainage issues created, whether secondary or tertiary actions, or they're actions based on things being removed from the list that shouldn't have gone in. But your professional engineering, PMJ, was on the record approving these things. These stipulations were spelled out. So it's a real convenient thing to say, and I agree with, let's not live in the past and let's move from this point forward. But it's important to know the past because it's a municipality. Steps taken to be approved by a municipality and those procedures followed, there are strict procedures to change that course, and that's not outside of the public view. So when I may make insertions or infer things, I've been accused of assuming things. I have the black and white, just at that. I have standing FOIA requests for more documentation to further establish that. What we all need to understand is whether it's convenient or not, or whether it's uncomfortable, is that truth, substantial truth, are absolute defenses when you make statements. It's in the black and white. You know, there's a lot of talk at the city council and the DPW meeting. It's really sad to see the council shift blame on the planning commission. The planning commission has a lot of power, and you've been effectively, for no better choice of words, neutered in this situation, and just you're chasing your tail. In the city council, things go to the council, they blame the commission for not being able to step up and push these things, but it's the planning commission's call. You can look back on the record and you can see these things, and you can just choose to reenact the actions that were already approved. It's all in the past. So, it's kind of it's really a thing to reflect on. I will reflect. I was forced to reflect when I was asked a simple question: what do I want? Well, I had to think about it, and that's what I want. I want everybody to be better public servants, and us to be better as a community, and to move forward and try to figure things out. That's it. I'll just keep it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. I appreciate the time it takes to review all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's gone down in the last 4 years for the city.
Alright. We'll go ahead and close the citizens' comments at 6:46. You know, I had Mr. Fields that signed up for it.
Need your first name, your phone, and text you.
Are we good, Rob? Okay. We're moving on, communications. And that's Mr. where you want, from what you showed me here, Mr. Weaver, community meetings, and, this is for yours, correct?
Well, we haven't got there yet. That's just what we'll be talking about. Just so I would forget. But if you want to enter the DPW minutes
Yeah.
into the record, I don't see any harm in that.
Alright, well, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna read this off. You see the DPW committee meeting minutes from May 13th. And the meeting was called to order at 7:07 last night, and this is what was discussed, and this is what the meeting minutes reflect. If you want a copy of it, I can get one for everybody. There was extensive discussion regarding the ongoing flooding issues related to the 3 new houses built on the east side of Bell River Road and the continuing problems associated with the Memphis Meadows condominium project built on the west side of Bell River Road. Several homeowners attended who have been impacted. Very free-ranging discussion ensued and all views were presented. The general feelings and frustrations that were gathered were these. Citizens wanted specific actions taken by the city to correct the flooding problems. During discussion, it was pointed out the Planning Commission had the responsibility to make specific recommendations to the City Council for their consideration. The Council then chose to act on those recommendations, ignore, modify, or propose alternatives. To this end, Chairman Weaver proposed 2 recommendations presented to the City Council. 1, the city draft a letter to be sent via our attorney to the builder to begin construction of the detention pond for the Memphis Meadows condominium project. The intention of the letter being to garner a response from the builder whether they will accommodate this request or not. This will establish for the record what the intention of the builder is, to build or not to build, and when. Verbal discussions on this matter in the past are not adequate to answer these questions. Item number 2, request our city engineering firm, BMJ, assess the following. Sub 1, if the elevations of the monuments established on statewide prints are accurate, we need to know if there is an issue with the existing grades. Sub number 2, examine the drainage issues on the east side of Bell River, the 3 new homes were built there, and advise the city on how to correct and restore the flow of water out of the Lois Roberts subdivision. Estimate materials and costs for culvert repairs or alternative ditching. It was proposed at City Council's blessing to reinstall no parking signs on both sides of Pratt Road from Bell River. Even where signs are still present, people continue to park on both sides of the road, creating a very dangerous situation for pedestrians, vehicles using the road, and emergency vehicles who may need access to the residences. Next item is city backhoe. The city backhoe was down. Repairs are estimated to be about $13,000. This is essentially the same repair that was done 2 years ago. The council needs to deliberate a strategy for this equipment need. DPW supervisor gave some options: sell it after repairs, replace it with a lease, consider new or used machine. This is the city's main workhorse, and we need to be confident it will operate and not turn into a money pit, which at the present seems to be the case. Next item, signs for Michigan trails and greenways. Councilman Dunbar briefed the committee on cost estimates and showed a sample sign which will display points of interest for the city. Each location will have its own sign. Discussion on how to integrate this information with the City of Memphis website. The project is under budget, at present approximately $4,600. The cap on the project is $6,000. The meeting was adjourned at 8:57 last PM, and the minutes were generated by Steve Weaver, DPW Chair. So we have that moved in there.
I move that we put that on file with communications.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries on that. All right, moving on to new business. Item number 1, discuss the legal memo. That is with Ms. Randazzo, so I'll let you take it from there.
Alright, so I think everybody's aware that I sent a letter after our last, our special meeting on April 21st, and that addressed, some of the issues that we had. Now, at our last meeting, at the 21st meeting, we figured out where we were as far as the preliminary plan for the condos and what our next steps were. So there was some clarification that needed to happen. We needed to figure out these last couple ordinances and how they're interpreted. Our Memphis ordinance says that if there is any confusion, we don't rely on the builders. Obviously, we rely on our own city attorney, who has our interests at heart. So I had drafted a letter to the builders and kind of explained that here's what we're waiting on. We would be contacting our attorney to get his take on this. But then I also brought up some other issues that we had. This being the change of the name and what was the change of the name for? Because it was Memphis Meadows and is now the Villages of Memphis. So I wanted to know what that change was for, or if it was just for the name only. We talked about the homeowners association agreement, and we asked for a date that would be handed over to the homeowners. I brought to their attention the concerns of the flooding, and that we obviously believe that it might be because of the absence of that retention pond. So we needed some sort of estimate of either when that retention pond is going in, or if they have some other remedy that would relieve the homeowners until that retention pond is finished. That was it. So that was my questions. They did respond back. Oh, I'm actually going out of order, so whatever. Either way, they did respond back, and essentially they did state that this was the preliminary plan review, because I know that we had talked about at one point whether this was the final review or the preliminary. It's definitely the preliminary. So we were able to carry on with that. They came back and said that I should just say that they answered our questions, and I think that they answered them to the best of their ability at this time. It didn't raise any further questions, I guess, for me. The only thing that I still have confusion about is the flooding issue, but I know that was handled last night for the most part. I don't want to say handled completely, but it was discussed.
Yes.
It was discussed. At this point, from what they had come back to me in this letter, was that they're getting with their site engineer and developer to figure out what ways they can fix this flooding. So I did bring it to their attention that obviously we're having issues, and we can't let our citizens continue to live in a swamp. So that was that was at least addressed. So getting on, that kind of actually hits number 2. Sorry, like I said, I'm going out of order.
That's
But then I did send a letter to the attorney just wanting the, his take on the ordinances that we have, and what his interpretation was. And I don't necessarily know how deep we want to get into it because we do have the meeting set for May 21st, and that is going to be our preliminary plan review. That is a special meeting. It is not a public hearing, but it is a special meeting. Everyone obviously can be there. That's where I really intend on getting super deep into it. I do think that the legal memo from the attorney answers all of our questions. I think at this point we have everything that we need to make an informed decision and rely on the ordinances and be able to check the boxes to this site, and be able to decide that if we're going to come up with an approval or a denial. So that's kind of my take on it. I don't know if everybody's had the chance to, kind of review it or if you have any questions, but that's where I personally think we're in good standing. So
He was very specific.
Mhm. What the problem here, and I don't say the problem, but planning commission I do think does get a bad rap. That there's more that we should be doing, but essentially our entire job here is to look at the ordinance and decide whether or not something fits. I have my own personal feelings about a lot of things, and if you ask them, I'd be more than happy to tell you. But at the end of the day, my entire job is to read the ordinance and decide whether or not something fits. Not if I like it or not if I think it's the best thing. But we have to keep that in mind when we do something like this, that we all have our own personal feelings. And when we look at the ordinance and we look at site plans, we just have to make sure that it fits the ordinance. And if it fits the ordinance, then we can't bring our personal feelings into it and say, well, just because I don't want something, that's why I'm going to deny it. So I do think that this attorney's, city attorney's memo is good for us, as far as giving us understanding of what it means, what each ordinance means, and how we can, put the puzzle pieces together when looking at the site plans. I also think that the engineer that from, the January date, they gave, essentially, here everything else is where it needs to be, here are our issues, and those issues were addressed and interpreted by the attorney. So I think at this point, we, at our next meeting, we'll be able to move forward.
Specifically, did our attorney comment on drainage issues?
The what?
The drainage issues in the letter back from our attorney?
No,
Basically, I just want to check, because maybe I've read the sewer. He was just basically commenting on, like the buildings are too long,
Yeah.
and the height variations and setbacks. And so he pretty much outlined those things and compared it to
Right.
the ordinances that are part of our condominium ordinance. So that we could make
So-
an informed decision on that aspect of it. I just
Right.
wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing any response from Alan's letter here
Right.
regarding that.
Right.
Although there is partial response in Mr. Eady's letter, their attorney. So then I'll bring it up.
Right. One of the things that or I should say that, like, when I did send my letter to the attorney, it essentially was, here are the ordinance that we needed to talk about, and those were the same ones that we talked about the last special meeting on April 21st. That was the setbacks, the streets, the building height, length of the buildings. Because when you look at some of the letters from the builder, it's very much, their interpretation and why we should follow their interpretation rather than, what we think it is. And there's difference of opinion. I mean, we were following one or believing their ordinance said one thing and they were arguing another. So what is nice is that Memphis ordinances do say that if there is a difference of opinion, then we always rely on our city attorney. So that's why we needed his take. And now that we have that, I feel much more prepared to, I should say, I'm not ready tonight to make an opinion, but at our next meeting, I will be in good standing to make an opinion and be able to back it.
I would feel, though, at least with getting this letter back from Alan, if we do have an honest difference of opinion with the builders, then the next course for the planning commission is to send that to the zoning board of
Well,
appeals.
and that's exactly what essentially will happen is if, you know, we can say that everything else looks good, but here are the problems that we have.
Or point out other problems that we might have at that time too.
Right, well, and I think at this point, if we continue to bring up other problems, if there's like a genuine problem, yes, it needs to be brought to light. But if, like I was kind of saying, I don't wanna, kind of pick and pull things apart that don't
Understand.
need to be pick and pulled apart just because we don't want something to happen. You know, if it's a true, you know, concern, absolutely. I would have concerns to why it hasn't been brought up before.
Some of these things
But-
have, but they're in the record. I don't know how strongly some of the citizens over there directly involved will feel on reiterating some of those things, but
No,
during preliminary plan review, they are gonna have the opportunity to do that. So I'm not
Absolutely,
gonna
absolutely.
speak for them. I'm just saying it's still kind of, we're actually trying to get back to where I wanted to go. So let's kind of just start over with the preliminary plan
well,
and see what you're giving us. And I asked both the clerks this week if they had, and it's still 2 weeks away, if they had submitted an updated engineering plan. And
no.
their answer to me was no, they have not.
and right now they don't have to. According to the ordinance, they do
So,
not.
yeah, I was just trying to determine, I had just to think it out, well, am I just gonna be looking at the same set of prints again? Or we have some 3 black and white things in there at least that need to be addressed. It's
Yes.
clear they need to be addressed because they don't match up to our ordinance.
Well, the last plans that they submitted were on March 20th, 25. That is when they also sent their letter that says like, this is our application for the preliminary plan. So
Okay.
that is what we are going off of.
Okay.
They said, so
Fair enough.
what they did is they, you know, they sent their plans back, I don't remember the date now, I wasn't on the
Right,
commission.
I know there's a lot of them there.
But yeah, and there have been all these issues because in January, our engineers looked at it and they said, you know, here's where we think things are good, here's where we think things are not good. And then we took what was not good, told the builders then resubmitted with, here's our corrections, or here's where we think you are wrong with the ordinance, which is where we get back and forth to what the setbacks, the street, building height, and length of buildings were. So instead of fighting with them over who's right and who's wrong, we're just gonna go to our attorney and they're gonna tell us who's right. So that's where we're at. I do feel like that there's been,
Well, did you get out of Alan's letter then, if he's giving an up or down vote on those?
he's not giving us a vote. on
Well, not
whether
a
or
vote, excuse me, bad language. But did he determine whether we were right or wrong and according to, I mean, that's what you're asking him.
Well, it's not so much like, he's not the judge and jury. He's
No.
just saying, his
Interpretation.
interpretation ranks over our interpretation and the builder's interpretation. So, when we have these issues, his ultimate word is what we need to rely on. So everything in the memo that's what we're relying on.
So we would have to wait until we actually do this review? I mean, we still don't know whether we're barking up the wrong tree because the height is 30 feet instead of 25 feet. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, review the memo. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had an extremely rough week. And I really wanted to come in here way more prepared and at least be able to like give everyone a letter or something on, you know, where everything's at.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
can
honestly, it's
deal with
just
that in
such a-
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's okay, all right,
So,
I'll let that go. Just
Either way,
conversation.
yeah, no, either way, I do feel like, you know, we are in a good place to go through and check the boxes as we need it. So at least we can.
I appreciate having that step done, that we have
Yeah,
that up to date, that's marvelous, that's very valuable.
Right.
I appreciate your work there, I really do.
Yeah, so I do think that, you know, I think we're in a good place. Also though, for the special meeting, we are going to send, that notice to the builders.
Oh, okay.
I will advise that they are here. I do not think that they watch the videos. I don't know why they would, to be honest. So I do think that sending them notice to say, here's
That's
our
great.
meeting, you better be there.
A lot of people would love to see them come in. I mean, they expressed that last night too. A
Right.
number of people, how come if the builders were here to talk about it, they really knew we were having, and they should know that we're having issues. I mean, it's not a secret, there's been a lot of friction over it. The meeting might have helped it
Right,
along.
but I mean, I just know me personally, if I know I'm being complained about, I don't necessarily want to sit.
Yeah, that's my take on why they don't wanna come.
Listen to it.
So-
Did Mr. Zambo have a question?
The meeting's on the 21st, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, there's actually a letter in your packet that I believe is being
That's
was sent out.
next Wednesday, right?
City of Memphis Planning Commission will conduct a preliminary plan review on Wednesday, May 21st
You said 2 weeks, so
2025.
that's why I was,
Yes.
that's why I was curious.
at 6:30 here at Memphis City Hall.
It's next week, the
21st.
The purpose of this meeting is to review the preliminary plans submitted on a condominium development on parcel 04-03-02-151-007, which is 8.623 acres located behind Bell River Road and Pratt Road. And it says persons wishing to view the plans prior to the meeting may do so at the office of the city clerk at Memphis City Hall, Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 4:30 PM.
Just circling back, you had mentioned, you know, if we're obviously still having issues, we review the ordinance and it still doesn't fit, you know, kind of what happens next. We do have the opportunity to say no, flat out, you know, deny, change, and then resubmit it, we'll do this all over again. The next thing we can do is everything else looks good and we know that it's just these couple little things. You know, we can approve it on condition that ZBA approve the variances. At that point, ZBA has to do their job and kind of decide is this worth giving the variance for? Is it going to conform
Yeah,
to the
that's-
health and
that's
safety?
their
Oh,
call.
yeah, that's completely on them. But that's kind of the options that we have. And the next thing we could do is just say, I guess we don't care and completely approve it, and I can. We'll talk about that at next meeting.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
on
the
the
quicker
special
pace
meeting.
we have.
Okay, so that covers your two, under new business, the legal memo and the letter from statewide here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, well.
Go ahead.
No,
You
I'll
go
wait,
on.
I'll wait for comments, Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
you sure?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanted to talk about Thursday.
Okay, item number 3, new business, discuss the recommendations to council. Mr. Weaver, you have something on that that you want to?
Yeah, I was hoping maybe in just the hopes of clarifying where we are with this and the perception that we haven't been making recommendations to the city council because so many of these various issues, whether the code ones which we just discussed or the flooding ones, and there's density in there, some other things that go along with this, that in hopes of just narrowing down where the builder is and what the position of the city is, we should send the city council a couple of recommendations so that they can consider them and they can vote as they see fit. And what those recommendations would be for me, or what I would put on the table here. You know, I'm here to discuss it with you all. You can change it, add it, or not entertain it at all. But this is just the way that I'm thinking this might clarify what's going on here with us here and give our citizens some sort of lifeline that we're doing something, and this is what we're doing. So the first recommendation would be to have the city draft a letter, send it via our attorney, to simply state, start building the start building the detention pond. I'm not gonna get into a lot of the details of it, we just know we want it built. And just ask them, not ordering them, it's not threatening them, we're not, talking combat or anything here. I would just like it to be on the record. The council can consider it. If they don't wanna do it, they don't have to do it. But that's number one. And the reason of the letter that I would share with you why I would send it like that and simply like that is the intention is to get an on-the-record response from this builder. They seem to think they don't have to build this detention pond. And there's a lot of disagreement on that. And there's a lot of different strands of evidence that you can make to support that view. And I would love to hear theirs on the record on why they think they don't have to do it. So we could quit beating this horse. So that would be one, simple letter like that. It wouldn't be hard to do, it's not gonna cost any money. Let Mr. Eady sit down and draft a simple question. We sent 7-point letters before, they're really never specific with you. I'm not satisfied with their answer, too ambiguous, so I'm trying to keep it real simple. And the second one And I will say that, actually Jonathan B. Eady and I agree on this, where he states in his letter regarding the flooding issue, we can consult with the site engineer and developer, develop their engineer. Well, we have an engineer, and I think the quickest way to put to bed a lot of these speculations about drainages and swales and flooding, we should simply ask B&J to come out here and shoot the elevations along Bell River Road on the west side. And then I would ask them while they're out here, I mean, we just retained them again through contract, so they would be at our service when we call to look at those 3 houses across, not the houses particularly, but the drainage issue on the east side of Bell River Road. We heard extensive comments, pictures, everything, where there's culvert damage there. Something has to be done to drain that. We cannot let that situation continue. And I'd be happy to hear solutions, but we need to have our engineer, just like, we get a road rebuilt, we have bond issues, the engineer draws the plans and it costs this much money, it's gonna take this much thing, we could schedule in, they'll put it out for contract, if we can't do it in-house. But my God, I'm not gonna make the call on what I think, I think I know what I know, but I'm not the engineer. So it's those 2 things. Yeah, I'd like them to ask the builder to begin building that detention pond, ask them when they're gonna do it, and shoot the elevations and take a look at the other side and give the city a recommendation on how we can fix those problems. That's it.
Isn't that what we're gonna do next Wednesday?
No.
I don't see why any reason we can't do it today. The sooner the better. It's gonna be on the agenda. I'll bring it up in 2 weeks too. But do we wanna keep adding weeks and months and?
No, I'd like to move on this, on this erosion issue tonight. Let me see your paper.
Well,
We're actually the city engineer.
I'd love to hear everybody else's opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to
absolutely.
force this down anybody's throat. I just did it for
No, I
clarity.
wanna hear everybody's opinion on this.
Okay, then,
I
I'll
guess-
shut up.
So I'm gonna be honest, I know obviously there is a flooding issue, I don't know enough about it as far as, is the water coming under the road, over the road, whatever. And I think that there's probably too much to be explained tonight and for me to completely understand it. I think if we're gonna be making a recommendation to city council on something, whether that be them having their engineers come up with some sort of remedy.
Assess, that's what I'm thinking, and yeah, solution too.
I don't love that idea because the person that signs their paycheck is the same people we're asking to do the work or to pay for the work. So if we need somebody to fix this, sure, they can say here's what we think would work, but I do think that our engineer would also have to look at it and decide if is that a easy way out, not actually gonna do anything other
Well, I wanna
than
get
maybe a
their
couple
opinion.
weeks. I mean,
They would just, if the city wouldn't have to necessarily build anything, what we would be doing is we would be just paying a fee for someone to come in and advise us on issues that we have. By the way, he asked, I know this was a few weeks ago, he asked for photographs. Well, I think we sent him a lot, and we had people bring them here last night. Clearly, their sheds are underwater. We have more pictures than you can shake a stick at. I've looked at dozens of photos and I've looked at, the complete side of the street is flooded out. It's just terrible. But we all know that. So, rather than keep talking about it month after month after month,
I mean, yeah.
I want an expert opinion who has the city's interest in mind. I don't want to rely on Mr. Eady. And besides, can I even trust him? Or statewide that he's going to have his engineers going over there like he promises to? It'd be instructive if there are pictures or better description. Or, the site was developed according to, site's according to drawings. We wouldn't expect that would create a work. We wouldn't expect. We can consult with the site engineer and this is nothing definitive. So what is my response to them? Well, next month, did your engineer look at it? Did you give us any feedback? Anybody heard any feedback on that? No, I haven't. That's right. Sorry, I haven't heard a thing. So, city council is saying that we're all a bunch of incompetents. Well, if they want to take responsibility and have some recommendations from city council, by God, I got 100 of them I can give them. And I'm giving them two easy ones here. This is just me, and I'm sorry if I get a little wound up on it, but I don't know any other way to move this thing forward. And I will shut up now, and I will not even, I would make a motion for this, but I won't. Somebody else wants to, you may, and if I know I get a second, then we can at least vote on it, but if not, does anybody else have any suggestions of what we can
How we can
help the city move along this process? So right now, I'd appreciate it after you've heard me do my speech here, get all riled up.
No,
You guys want to pursue that or not, or if you got an alternative, or we just can move on to unfinished business?
This is what I see, because I just have this mental picture in my mind. As a matter of fact, there's a similar situation with an associate of mine. Having a driveway built. He had a dirt driveway, he's having crushed rock put in for a blacktop driveway. Builders came in, his driveway runs over a culvert. They smashed a culvert, now his yard floods. Who's responsible? It's not him. Who's gonna pay for it?
Builder.
Exactly.
Right.
So here's what I would think is have our city engineer go out there, look at it, see what he comes up with, make his recommendations and see if it's something that was pre-existing or is it something that was caused by the current build. And if it was caused by the current build and we can get his opinion on that, then we can advise the builder, hey, you caused this problem, you need to correct it before you can move forward.
Right.
You caused the problem, you need to remedy it, come up with a solution. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't even go so far as to try to have the engineer assign blame. I mean, if he
Not
wants
really
to make an
assign blame,
opinion,
I
fine. I
just
just wanna
recommend
know, how do you fix it?
Exactly. How are
That's
we
what
gonna
I
fix
want,
this
that's what the
problem?
people who are out there want, they want, how do I fix this?
Absolutely, and I 100% agree.
That's all I
Mr.
wanna know
Riley,
from the engineer, but if we
Mr.
did that
Campbell.
out of time, I'd be tickled, though, believe me, I'd be real happy about that.
Ms. Garber, you have anything to add on that? Your thoughts? I think we need to get it out in the open and move on with
My
this.
thoughts, I'd put a motion in to adopt Mr. Weaver's, 2 questions here.
I would second that.
And,
Go ahead,
and,
Ms.
and then what's
It's gonna go
the
to council.
motion? What's the motion?
To, have the
There it
city
is.
draft a
Get ready.
letter to build the pond, to get a response from the builder, and ask the engineer.
Pass one down to Mr. Zambo, in case he needs it, so he doesn't have to write all that down.
Mr. Riley, you have
I
something to
a question
add?
for you, Steve. Now, you've looked at it a long time. Is the flooding worse than on Bell River, worse than it was before those 3 houses went in?
It's no comparison.
So now, it had some type of drainage in there, did it have like just a ditch?
Culvert, under Bell River Road,
So
and
now,
also the grades were altered with the 3 houses that were built that dumped a
So
whole lot
they-
more water into those.
they compromised the
Lowest
culvert, they caused the flooding by not doing things right, not taking care of the drain. They didn't put anything back in. Is there anything underneath those driveways to allow the water to flow that was there before? So they destroyed existing, for lack of a better description, flood control when they put it in. So they're responsible for that. They need to fix that, would be my opinion, and I'm gonna get yelled at here by them, but I think I hear something.
No, I'm just thinking like, I think we're making assumptions without knowing like what the actual cause of the flooding is. Is it lack of culverts? Is it a crushed culvert? Is it something that I don't even know because I don't know anything about,
That would be the
ditches
purpose
and-
of asking DMJ
right,
about that.
so
right?
Absolutely.
looking at this, my opinion would be strike question 1 because I don't think that we are even close to sending a letter to them yet. I think we're jumping the gun with question 1, saying the planning commission recommends that the city draft a letter sent via our attorney to the builder to pretty much demand that they construct the detention pond. I think first and foremost we want an opinion so we know what we're talking about. So I understand question 2 that we request these, we request the city engineering firm to go look, like do a site view and decide how they would correct it, where the issue lies. So then we can competently explain our issue.
Do we need to?
Does that make sense?
Yes.
No, I understand your point, absolutely.
Do we need
I'm
to
not in full agreement with it, though, but I understand it.
do we need to supply any kind of proof that before they did the driveways and built, it didn't it didn't flood like it is now, and then after they did,
Ken,
now
if you
it's
wanted to
flooding?
go that far, we could depose every one of these neighbors.
I don't know what they need, Steve, I'm not saying.
No, I know, I'm just saying, if you wanted to
Do
go
we
that
need
route,
that?
how else would you prove that?
I
You
think,
got people who've lived there their
Right.
whole lives, who've got, they're not gonna lie,
I
I would
get that.
depose them, if they wanna have,
I get that, but do we need to do that to get a
I don't know.
response from them? And is that some type of requirement that we'd have to, because they'll come and go, well, you know, maybe it's just, it was like,
maybe they will, but I want an answer from
we
them.
get all these people that say, no, it wasn't,
If you-
Bart should know it wasn't, and that should be,
But see,
Right,
Yeah, but
right.
if you send the
Bart
engineer
should
and he
know
gives
that.
you a report, then you got your ducks in a row, and then when they come back with something, then you've already got a report.
and I'm okay with that, but how does he know what was there before, if it's all gone, or smashed and buried?
Told you, I don't really care about assigning
I think-
blame or putting
We
it
wanna
there, I
get
just
done.
want.
If it comes
yeah, I
across
think
know.
just
city-
getting the city
We'll
engineer out
we'll
there.
meet with the DPW chief, I will be there. I'm sure I can get a couple of neighbors to show up and just have a conference with them and explain to them first eyewitness accounts, take them to the site, any good engineer's gonna want, okay, let me take a look.
Who
And
you
while he's
talking
at it, he
about?
should drag his transit out and he should shoot those 3 or 4 monuments on the other side of the road
Who you
where
talking
they
about
built up the
explaining
grade
it to?
higher than they should
Who are you
have.
talking about explaining it
Well,
to?
settle down,
Our
guys.
guys or their people? Because those people are gonna twist anything they get, and I don't believe a word they're gonna say.
Well,
Well, see, I mean, the way
The
this
whole
is
point, Ken,
written,
is to get their reaction, but they will not react to they don't respond to letters that are kindly, or they don't
Right.
respond to comments, they don't respond to public criticism, they respond to none of that.
We
These
wanna
guys,
get it done, of course,
They live
but
in court,
If it's
okay?
gonna cost us a
That's
certain
where
amount of
they, that's
money,
where they
have
keep
them
this
pay
stuff.
for it. They destroyed it. Let's just get it done.
who's Bravo? Who's Bravo?
Okay, so where
Hold
are we
on,
at
on
with
over
the
there.
motion? Let's
All right, so,
reassess
Example,
here, we
how do you
got
wanna
two
reassess?
parts
You
going
want-
on, and let's.
right, let's try to keep on track here. This is something that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so
This-
Randy,
so-
as a recommended to strike question one, question one, I guess, really kind of goes along with,
Here,
it's a second to question two, right?
right, so here's,
It is related.
Yeah, but it would
It is-
be,
it is related.
it's a result.
we have to have a clear game plan, because I think if we just send this letter and we're like, this is what needs to happen, without explaining why, or like what the issues are, then I think that's why they're like not giving us the answers or able to give us a clear answer that we're looking for. So I think that the first order of business should be to have our engineers go do a site review, decide where the issue lies, give us some sort of professional opinion, and then we can say to the,
Builders.
to the builders, here's what we know, here's how it needs to be fixed, when are you going to do this?
So you'd be in agreement with
Item number 2.
the second,
Yeah, yeah.
second part, A and B?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with both, I just think
Okay.
they need to be flipped.
I
just think that-
You wanna conclude that, because I will compromise with you on that, if it takes that to get you on board with it, I mean, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I
You know,
just
it's not
think we-
illogical, I'll take anything I can get at this point.
Yeah,
Okay, so do we wanna make a motion
Yeah,
on
so
this?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, exactly how you wanna go with this.
Okay, so I will make the motion to recommend to city council that our city engineer do a site review of the, or do a site review and examine the drainage issues on the east side of Bell River, and advise the city on how to correct and restore the,
Corner of Pratt too.
okay, so
Bell
it's east, so it's the east side of Bell River, and what would that be? The south side of Pratt?
West side of Bell River and then
North.
north side of Pratt,
Okay,
so it's the whole L.
It's across the street from the condominium development,
okay.
Okay,
right across the street.
Hold on one second on that, what area are you talking about again?
So, the east side of Bell River, and then the north side of Brett. Hold on, somebody
North-
else.
north
I am
side.
not sick, Julia.
No, that's fine, we could include the addresses if you wanna put that in there. I think everybody knows where it's at, though. It's right
I just want to clear.
across the street from the condominium, across the street from Memphis Meadows.
Okay, so the east side.
Everybody knows there's 3 new
Yes.
homes, but they're separate.
Yeah.
One builder built those 3.
So the houses that are the older houses on
right,
Okay, yeah.
No, these are 3 new homes.
Yeah, the new homes, but you're talking across the
It
street.
says, examine the drainage
Yeah,
issue.
that's where Jim lives.
Okay, all right,
So here's Bell River.
right,
These are the 3 new constructions.
right.
Mr. Riley,
These are the 2
I have
corner
pictures
houses at
taken
Lois.
during the
This is Dean and
construction.
Sean. This is the major flooding
That'll
there.
work.
This culvert at DPW is a city infrastructure issue that's failed. We got Bart to talk about last night, which doesn't allow any of this to flow out here.
Okay,
The rest of the flooding comes from here back down, but it winds up
okay, so we're gonna
down
have
here, Priest, and Bob, and the 3 houses down here, just get
Okay.
everything else.
Tina, those pictures you have during the construction, can you
here's-
send those to the
On the flip
Memphis
side-
Planning email, the Memphis Planning at currently.com?
3108 is the
Apparently done
authority to petition the council
right,
for just the funding of
because
that.
right.
my ears are so stuffed
Okay.
because the grass isn't cut and I'm dying and I'm going to the doctor tomorrow.
Okay, Mr.,
So where are we at with, Mr. Zambie all caught up there?
Little
for-
louder.
Are we making that motion, or we haven't voted?
Yeah,
on
That's
it?
right.
Okay,
no,
all right,
no,
read the
I'm-
motion,
I'm still
reread the
making the motion.
All right.
okay.
Do you need me to,
Hold on one
do you want me
second,
to,
I'll get it
oh, sorry.
You're making a motion to recommend the council to have engineers investigate drainage issues and,
Yep,
the,
the east, so
culvert.
it'd be the east side of Bell River,
East,
the north
right.
side of Lois. Is that how you say it, Lois?
Yes,
Yeah, that's pretty silly.
Okay.
You said Bow River,
And then it's the north corner
you
of,
said the north side of Lois?
yeah, and
And
then the north side of Pratt,
okay,
right there by Bell River. Which would be, I guess, the most
Perfect.
south of Bell River.
okay, hold on, is that it?
No, and then we want we want them to advise the city on how to correct and restore the flow, out of the Lois Roberts subdivision. Give us an estimate for the materials and cost to culvert repairs, or the alternative ditching. And then upon that report or that opinion, then we would recommend, that we send a letter to the builder with our findings. And I guess demand for remedy.
Request, remedy,
Request.
demand seems kind of pushy, I would say a request for a remedy.
Sometimes we gotta be bold.
If that's what you,
Request is fine, it doesn't matter.
it just sounds a little, that's what we found, can you take care of this for us kind of thing?
Yeah, you know, you do get
Okay,
more on
and
flies.
let's- You ready, Mr. Zambo, you wanna read that motion out, please?
all right, so the motion is to recommend council to have engineers investigate drainage issues on the east side of Bell River, the new homes built there, and advise the city how to correct and restore the flow out of the Lois Roberts subdivision. That's including the east side of Bell River, the north side of Lois, the north side of Pratt at Bell River. And to get an estimate of the materials and costs for the culvert repairs or alternative ditching. And then send the letter to the builder to request a remedy.
Very good.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Alright.
All opposed? All right, motion carries on that.
I like to correct and restore, that's a good touch. Restore, make it was there, fix it.
Did I say, I think he wrote that.
I thought you said that.
This-
Hey, it's just one big beautiful
It-
motion as far as
that
I'm
was-
concerned.
That's exactly,
That was
Yeah.
Mr. Weaver's writing, I just kinda
Yeah.
incorporated it in there with it all.
okay, very good,
Beautiful, guys.
I like that.
No.
Moving on,
Yeah, I like notifying the builder. Perfect.
Yeah.
moving
I never wanna
on.
walk into something without knowing what I'm talking about.
So,
I've done it, I don't like
so there's
it.
some of that record, yeah.
All right, so that was,
That's the end of new business, right?
that's the end of new business. Moving on to unfinished business, item number 1, statewide submittal to planning.
We already know where we're at with that.
Where I moved down, I'm sorry?
Yeah, we kinda talked about that.
Okay, so we moved in. And review the master plan. Is anybody,
Yeah, do we know what city council?
Got all about that one. All right, brought to city council, they rejected it.
Okay.
All right, so they wanted 2 more bids. You know, I gave a pretty in-depth, you've heard it all here before, that Karen didn't think it would cost $10,000 because so much more of the work was done. It's really a ballpark figure, I think, that's commensurate with the area. However, you know, you know, I understand it's a $10,000 cap we put on it. So, Tom, you gotta come up with a way to get 2 more bids from city planners, and somebody has to explain to them what we want and get estimate costs when they get it done, and
so we need
they threw it back on our table, so.
Well,
All right.
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind, I just tell, that's what happened. I tried to get it passed, but it just didn't fly. It was a split vote, I think.
okay, so we just need 2 more quotes
There
from
was
2
a couple
different city
people that were
planners,
against it,
so
so
we
it wasn't,
can,
you know, a unanimous thing.
Well, and I think this kind of moves for planning to my comment. A couple of us attended the planning commission, I guess what was it, conference?
Training
or
workshop.
Training workshop, last Thursday at Goodall's Park, in Pacific County. There was a lot of municipalities there, and I thought it was so valuable. I got so much information out of it, and I was very happy with what I took from it.
Right.
It does sound like majority of municipalities in St. Clair County do use a professional to write their master plan. But specifically the gentleman that taught the workshop, he does that for a living. I would actually be interested in speaking with him and seeing what his
Great.
prices were. Because I thought he knew what he was doing.
I was thinking the same thing, Mr. Riley, I think you were at, and Mr. Zamble was there at the training workshop.
Did you think it was valuable?
You think you sat next to him? Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I walked away, I was so impressed with it.
Okay.
I got it told her.
Let's touch base with him, please.
And get one more going at the same time.
Okay.
We need to get 2.
And I think
So
he-
somebody else get one, if Amber will take one on, then somebody else get somebody. Now remember, we got a lot of text already. We should share what we have so far.
Yeah, well,
So that they can take that into account, so they don't have to do all the text.
and I will say that I have it saved in the Dropbox.
Okay,
So
great.
it is all saved there, so you can easily send it how you need to send it.
I guess
We're missing 3 sections. I wanna say it's like natural resources or something, whatever, I can't remember what I was talking about.
I think one was, the maps, whatever they call
You're
it.
right, it's like it's section 6, 9, and 10. The maps aren't done. I don't know how to do any of that. I wish I did. I think with
the professional planner, that might be one step that
right, and see
we
that.
can eliminate.
And that's, because here's ultimately the thing, you know, kind of looking future down the road and for things I would like to see from Memphis, me, probably not children more than people change underwear in a week. I would like to see, you know, things happen with the parks in the area. And one of the things that are important when you go to look for a new park is grants. And what do grants want? They want to know what your master plan looks like.
Absolutely.
So if we don't have a master plan that's worthy to send to
That's why I stopped
grants-
looking into it. I got some real good leads for grants, just some of the things we talked, some really exciting news on that. But I'm keeping in touch with them,
Yeah,
but we gotta put a plan down.
right, we have to have something nice.
I guess that's why I was maybe a little, you know, anxious to just please pass, because it's been almost 2.5
Right.
years now.
Well, and I just
But,
remember,
you
They
know,
were
we have
discussing that at the class too.
$1,000 or more, you're supposed to get 2 bids.
Well, we're not the only one. I mean, I said our master plan was from 2015. There were other municipalities in St. Clair County during that class that their master plans were over 10 years old.
Well, we
So
wanna
we're
get
not-
out
we're
of that
not the
category.
only- Right, we're
Right,
not
well,
the only one out there.
and like you
No.
could explain, although, you know, we're supposed to touch on it every 10 years, there's no
Every 5, you're supposed to review it.
5, yeah, every 5.
Yeah.
Every 5, and if everything looks good, you just sign off and
Yeah.
resubmit it.
Yes.
Which is what it was
But there's no-
recommended to
there's
me to
no
do as a
officers.
planning chair. Last time, I
Right.
said, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, but that's not like there's no punishment. Obviously, we don't wanna just let everything go haywire, but,
Well, you wanna give them, a big company comes in here, or this foundation, I don't know if I pass information on to all you guys, but there's, the guy used to own Buffalo Bills. $2 billion is worth it. He set up a, not an endowment, but a 20-year spend down that $2 billion. It's 10 years through it. They've given away $1 billion already. I met with one of their representatives who, the St. Clair County people invited them and said, hey, you gotta come take a look at Memphis. I think because you don't realize these kind of foundations, they love to find clients that they think have the administrative ability, the need, the enthusiasm to just roll out some stuff. And I'm hoping that'll happen. They helped us out. Well, the county up here funded us for putting the kitchen at the line. That was like 15 grand or something. But I'm thinking a lot bigger than that. Discussions on playgrounds came up. Discussions on green spaces came up. Discussions on the Bell River came up, and a host of other things. They have 7 or 8 main categories. It's just at the beginning stages, but I don't sit down anything serious with this. That's why I'm just so anxious to get that plan
The old school
done.
park,
We just
I mean,
the back eight.
yeah, the kids still play there, but, and it's rough, you know?
Playground.
So that's definitely something I'd like to see in the next.
We got an antique
years.
merry-go-round that I just love over there at the line. There's not much change over there.
Well, I'd say, let's touch base with,
What his name is, and I have
With
his
the
contact
presenter.
information. Right, his contact information is actually in my
and I believe the
office.
pamphlet we gave would, allow us to find another
Right.
city planner, with the information that we received on last week. We can see if we can find another municipality that had a professional
Yeah.
planner.
I don't
think
wanna
Wales
rush
Township-
anybody, but if we could have that information when we do our next meeting.
I
then we
believe
could
that should be
push
a
that into the
possibility.
council.
If I need to work with anybody, let me know. That's fine. I do a lot of driving. I probably make a phone call here and there.
You need to make a few phone calls, I'll do it, but I'll let you take the lead on it, but you need
All right.
some help doing it, give me a call, Tom, or text me.
All right.
and I'll
If
be
Ken, if
happy
you
to
have
help out.
anything, if you remember anything from there, Barb said, I may check with other communities. I think all of us as a conglomerate, each one of us picks a township or a municipality, whether it be St. Clair, whether it be Richmond, Wales, Goodalls, whoever else that had a professional planner, find out who it is.
Wasn't it Kenoki that you just worked with?
Yeah, I think Kenoki Township just did theirs with a professional planner.
They worked with
With
that
him.
guy.
They worked with him,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
touch base
Chief
with
Pratt,
him.
they just did theirs, Riley, he's involved
Yes.
with Riley Township. and
Riley did theirs.
They just did, I'll ask Chief Pratt who did theirs,
I think
Okay.
they did their own.
they just did their own.
All right.
So I do think,
Just, like I said, just keep me updated if there's something I need to make a phone call.
okay,
I can't do anything this
So
weekend.
we're basically looking for quotes.
right.
Right, we need 2 additional quotes.
We have
Yes,
some of it done, but we would like the professional to
Yes.
finish it.
absolutely, and we could bring that to city council. Let them know what our status is on that, if they were asking
Yeah, you know,
about.
really, what's another month, honestly. I
I'm
mean,
sorry?
2 weeks is rushing, I'm so anxious. 'cause
One week.
Oh, yeah, never mind, it's way too short.
Yeah, we got seven.
Yeah, we gotta get,
No,
yeah.
I mean, we'll
That's
see.
right,
I'll
I'm
reach
just-
out to him. I'll
Jump the
see.
gun.
Okay,
We'll see what happens.
All right, so we'll get a couple quotes, good, that'll keep that issue moving forward now.
awesome, beautiful. All right, moving on. Commissioners' comments, everybody's been so quiet except for the rowdiness there, we're trying to keep this a little bit more
Yeah, I think I said plenty.
level-headed. I mean, we're trying to open up a new book in the chapter of our planning commission and trying to keep that going forward from what the 4 of us have learned from the workshop, is try to stick to those guns, I guess you can say.
Excellent, I appreciate the discussion tonight. Sometimes I get a little passionate, but you know.
Right. All we gotta
I can cool off.
Yeah, that's.
I appreciate the work you put into it. I mean, if you
Yeah,
do a lot
I
of
do.
was good.
I appreciate the citizens.
I feel very
mean,
positive.
Everybody here
We're
that's
working
brought
together
things to our
much
light,
better than I've
and
seen recently.
we learned a lot of stuff last week with this workshop. It was a 3-hour workshop. It was very informative.
They gave us a lot of good information.
A lot of good
Did
information.
Michigan State put that on?
No.
No, it was, it's,
MPEA, right?
Oh, Michigan
Right.
Municipal League, MML.
no, I think it's like the Michigan Planning Commission. It's basically,
Yeah.
it's state,
Yeah.
it's through the state.
It was
So
great.
there was probably about 40 different municipalities in there, if not more. It was a packed house.
Yeah.
It's a good investment, I mean, there's,
Yeah, we were
it's
packing like
complicated trying to
sardines, but
do
it
all
was-
this stuff.
I can't believe
You
that
walk
they did
into
it for so cheap.
Yeah,
$25, I think, was
Yeah.
the total.
that's why, yeah, well, of
per
course, you got
person.
$25 per person, keep going
Yeah, but I
on.
mean, you figure
And then
the cost of the book and the food alone, and then the presenter, I mean, they could couldn't have been much profit on that, so that was.
And a Mediterranean vegetable sandwich from Panera.
Oh, wow. They fed you too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't get that, the zoning one for the St. Clair
It
County.
was
but
good.
that's.
Michigan
sounds
State,
good.
that's why, like, they don't have enough money.
I
Right.
would like to go to a couple more of them, so I would like to keep an eye out. I would
Absolutely.
They had a couple, regarding the, like, preliminary plans, that whole thing. Just, from the conceptual all the way to the final, which I do think would be probably really good.
It's timely.
Yeah, and I laugh because I'm like, gosh, this isn't gonna happen in Memphis again for a really long time, and I don't wanna jinx myself, so. But that one and then the, master plan, that one I would also be interested in going. If each quote comes back super high, then we'll discuss that, but.
Okay.
Yeah, you may wanna get a couple more.
Yeah.
Ms. Garber, do you have anything to add to tonight?
Nope, nothing,
You're good to go.
nothing tonight.
Mr. Zambo,
I got nothing for you.
thanks for taking the minutes.
Yes, appreciate that.
Hopefully I did a good enough job on them.
No,
My first time.
I think we got an answer now.
Mr. Riley.
Wait, hold on, I do.
Okay, good, 'cause I got one other question before.
Yeah, hold on, actually, I forgot to mention this. I got an email. We need to select a secretary. Do you wanna wait on that?
That's what my comment was gonna be, is, that's something that I can appoint and then we vote on it, correct? Appoint the
I don't
secretary.
know, I'm not sure, I think the mayor.
It needs to be,
No,
right, it needs to be a
you appoint,
commissioner or
so-
not.
Planning commissioner?
The head of the commission,
Oh, it's up to you.
Oh, it's up to me?
pretty sure.
Get a list from Don of whoever's on there, and I guess pick one. Bring it and bring it to the commission.
Well, we need
Or
to pick
just
a
make
sec.
it unilaterally.
He makes a recommendation, and somebody else makes the motion to appoint whoever, for the planning commission you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because I need a co-chair too, so if I'm not available to make it, I need a
I'm
co-chair.
not really sure, I'm thinking that's how it was done.
Okay, well,
That you would recommend this person is the whatever?
that's what my thought was.
Okay.
Well, for secretary, I would like to recommend Rob Zambo as our secretary.
Okay.
I asked him before about it, and before the meeting, I said, hey,
Done
how
deal,
are
stop talking. Don't jinx it.
you?" Okay,
That's
I'll
excellent.
step out.
Let's
Okay.
not do
Okay.
that.
and we're all in favor?
Aye.
Alright, none opposed. Also, since Amber's been really good, in keeping me up to date everything, I mean, she's been really rolling the ball on this. And I don't know if it's required or not, but I like to recommend her as a co-chair, so if I'm not here, she can take, hold of the reins in my absence.
I would heartily endorse that.
You would highly endorse it?
Would you
Hardly.
be willing to accept this?
Would you be willing to accept it? I think you're really good, I mean, you've been pretty much rolling with the ball since you came in here, and I think you do a very good job at it.
Thanks, I'm honored. I mean, sure, if that means you're still gonna show up to meetings and.
I'm still
Yeah,
gonna show up to
that's
meet,
good.
that's basically it, you're just,
This is on me.
no, I'm not putting all the
Doesn't
pressure on
show
you,
up.
I am just, if I'm not able to make it, like, I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it today.
Yeah, that's just-
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna make it to the meeting, cause I was in Grand Rapids all day. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna get here in time.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah, buddy.
Who was the second on, the secretary?
Mr. Weaver?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Alright, I'm gonna make a motion that next time we walk in this building, it'll be Eric.
Yeah, you know what, we do have air. It must be shut off, I'll find out from
There isn't
Bernard.
much circulating in here.
Okay.
Well, it just occurs to me, I haven't heard, when it comes on, you know it.
Alright, thank you, everybody. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Alright, Garber, and who seconds it? I will second it, it's all in favor? Aye.
You just asked
Alright,
me.
Tina, you have
I
those,
was in her out of breath, I'm so sorry.
photos.
You're really listening to me like
Um,
breathe like an animal. I'm
Rob,
sorry.
we're gonna close